Hi, I'm Jocelyn from Transcend Wellness, and welcome to this week's Healing Downloads. For those who are new, we come together every week to do a group session for all the subscribers, and then I send out the healing downloads to everyone that's watching. So let's begin with the first step. Let's see what we all need this week. The first fractals coming up are around control. For us to just really let go of control of the outcome, control of people around us, and just let everything flow. Because the more we try and control everything, the more out of balance everything is getting. So take a deep breath. These fractals are showing that a lot of astrological influences have been triggering us. That's the Mars in retrograde and the other planetary retrogrades going on at the same time. All the astrological influences are really here to help us. I know it can feel overwhelming and a lot of triggers are not fun, but it's really here to help us, to take us to that next level. So these fractals are going to help to get at the learnings faster so that it doesn't have to be as uncomfortable, and then help us to get those final resolutions, to see a different truth, to then shift it all out so we can process and integrate everything easy, to open everything to its infinite potential. So take a deep breath. Now we have weaknesses in the sacral chakra, so that's really to balance our emotions so that our emotions don't take over, diffusing all those overwhelming emotions and putting us in the creative solutions so that we can channel those creative solutions, then rising our vibrations, recentering us into that meditative state, helping us to just take the next step of Wheel of Transformation, and then channeling the power animal that we need to get through this next week. Take a deep breath. These fractals are going to help us to get out of the reactions, because we're constantly reacting to everything that's happening because we're living in our emotions, consumed by our emotions, especially those of the lower ego, the fears, the worries, the doubts. That's what's causing all this instability. So as we rise out of that lower ego into the higher ego of the faith, the trust, the hope, we can bring ourselves back to neutral so that we're not going to react to things. We can take a deep breath, get into neutral, go into heart space, and then ask ourselves for the creative solutions, as well as just to analyze what's going on before we react and make it something bigger than it needs to be. So take a deep breath. Now we have removing more influences around us, all those expectations that are creating limitations, whether it's from relationships, family, or even situations, and then really putting us back in our power with clarity, self-worth, deserving, self-love, self-validation, and empowerment, all from within, tapping into our ancient wisdom from our ancient soul. I know that I've been talking about this a lot the past couple weeks, but because we're doing a group session, we're working on the collective as a whole, and this is something big that we're all going through because we've been living our lives for everyone else and we've been a prisoner to influences. But now is the time where we're really taking back our power. So we're going to need a lot of downloads to help us to do that, and that's why it's coming up every week. This week it seems to be coming up a lot more because we got in it from the last decks. So really focus on that. Really focus on when you feel yourself being influenced by something this week, just recenter yourself, take your power back, validate yourself from within, say something that's just going to empower you so that you don't avoid that situation or avoid saying what you want or doing what you want, so that you can really start living your life for yourself with empowerment, and then also opening up that love. So you're not just living your life from empowerment, you're living in that place of love where you can then be so strong from within, you have more love to give to others. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't have love to give to others. When you see others, you become resentful or jealous. But when you have love and you have that self-love, you just see love everywhere around you. So these fractals are going to help to do that. Take a deep breath. Now we have just really, again, pulling us out of that lower ego, because those fears, those worries, those doubts, they're making us not trust ourselves, and they're putting us in this spiral where we're just kind of like repeating the same thing and chasing our tail, and we know what we need to do, but we just have not been able to fully make that transformation yet. So these fractals are going to help with that, to remove any karma around it, to really end this cycle, begin a new cycle. Take a deep breath. Now we have really owning our shift. A lot of times we continuously want to help other people, and that's great. And it's also a lot easier to help others because we can clearly see what it is they need to shift, because we're neutral to it. We're not triggered by emotions. We can see, okay, they're doing this, and if they just did it a little bit differently, things would be a lot different. But that's all distracting us from our own shift. So it's really about saying, okay, I love you and I'm going to help you, but first I need to focus on me, focus on my shift, and use them as a mirror. So for instance, if we see someone struggling with something that they've been saying they're going to do for a long time and they're not doing it and they keep procrastinating, and we know that if we just empower them and boost them up, they'll be able to do what they need to. We have to use that as a mirror and look back and say, okay, well, why are we focusing on that? And look back at ourselves, and then look in our lives and say, okay, well, what are we procrastinating on? And how about we boost ourselves up the way we would boost them up, so that we can make the changes that we need to make. These fractals are going to help us to make it an easier process to weather that storm of our shift, because shifts are not easy. And that's why, we try and avoid them sometimes. But if we own it, and we take it on, and we have the energy, and we bolster ourselves to move forward through it, we can get through it a lot faster. The angels are going to help us to do that. Take a deep breath. It's showing that a lot of us are empaths, taking on everything that's going on around us, taking on emotions and struggle and pain. So this is going to help release everything that we took on, replenish us, recharge our batteries, and deepen our spiritual connection. And then white light bulb will protect us. Take a deep breath. It's coming up that a lot of us are really being sucked in by these triggers and patterns and old memories, just sucked down into the trenches, kind of like stuck, not knowing how to get out. We get better and then we get pulled back, and better and pulled back, and just getting frustrated with that. So these fractals are going to help pull that out, and it's showing that we really need to focus on our goals. So this week, what will be really powerful is this goal setting technique that I have, where you write a goal as if it's already happened by the date. So for example, it's now December 31st, 2020, and you can write, this has been an incredible couple months. Whatever you want to happen till then. I'm making 10,000 US a month or 20,000 US a month, and I'm helping everyone around me. I'm full of energy and vitality. If it's your health, you could say, all my organs are strong, my mind is clear, I'm constantly calm, centered, and balanced, and neutrality, the master alchemist. If it's a relationship you're trying to manifest, you could write, I've met my soulmate and we're in a deep, loving relationship, and we're able to share our innermost desires with each other, or whatever you want it to be. If you are having, issues with any part of your health, you could just say, my spleen is completely healed and powerful and energized. Whatever it is you want. The last sentence you have to write, make sure you open it to its infinite potential. So you want to write that or something better, because you want to manifest this goal, but you also want to open it to its infinite potential. So the universe might have something even way better planned for you than this goal. So the last line, always make sure to write this or something better. Then once you handwrite that goal and you're done, then just fold it up and put it somewhere safe. Detach from it so that you're neutral to it, so that it can manifest and do what it needs to. So everybody take a deep breath. Now we have really just detaching and releasing all those old societal beliefs and traditions that have been putting us in a box. We're breaking out of that box. We can now follow our dreams, ignite our passions, create the life that fulfills us by changing the dynamics and then helping us to feel safe and secure to create this new reality. It's a new frontier if we believe it. If we believe that now we can do whatever it is that lights us up and no one can tell us no, then we can really create that. We can become the masters of our reality and turn it into something more beautiful than we ever imagined. So take a deep breath. Now we have balancing the wise mind with the reasonable mind and emotional mind, removing all judgments. So this week your mantra should be just me. And there's so much satisfaction and tranquility that will come from that because you're just being you and you are allowed and you can open up the vulnerability to create what it is you want and doing that from a place of love. Take a deep breath. It's coming up that there might be a lot of triggers happening this week. As a collective, we're going through a lot right now, so this is going to help detach us from that collective unconscious to take things in bite-sized pieces and make the changes that we need to really keep us in this moment in just being just us, so that we don't take on too many things, take on other people's things and problems. We have enough of our own. Take a deep breath. Thank you all for joining me again this week, and I look forward to working with you next week. Remember, this is an overall group session for everybody watching, so if you'd like to do a more in-depth session to find out what the main blocks are, you can always contact me at transcendwellness.co, and I look forward to working with you next week. Bye.